Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Coach, and this is the ENLS series.
Okay, so here we are. We are at the finish line for this series, and I appreciate you tuning in. I know it's been a lot, it's been long, so if you've gotten value from it, that's what's most important to me in this whole thing. So I really hope that it's helped you out in some way, shape, or form. Had no idea, how I'd get to today, and things don't start making sense in the future until you've lived them, and then you look back. That's today. That's why I'm here today, is just to kind of share someone who's made the biggest difference and say my journey. After we go through the final chat for this series, we'll kind of finish off all the slides and some of the remaining things I'd like to leave you with and think about. At the end of that, I just like to go ahead and share my journey. If you'd like to stick around, kind of hear where I got to, kind of how this all started really. So, hey, what's going on? So I can't believe it. I have someone who's very hard to get a hold of. He works 100 plus hours a week, but really this guy is unbelievable in terms of helping others, having this place. He's a gym owner. He's been doing this for a while. This is the guy who started my whole journey, and actually it's been a long go for me. Very emotional, and I'll talk more about that in my story. What or who got you into health and fitness?
My name is Stephen Horwath, and I've always been into health and fitness ever since I was a little kid. So I started sports when I was like 6. My first time in the gym, I think I was like 13. I remember forging a doctor's signature so I can get into a gym. And I knew that I wanted to train athletes or train with athletes. So I started with athletic training, went through that program. So then I went physical therapy, didn't like that. And then that took me into strength and conditioning.
This is a very interesting industry, and it's very challenging, I think, to be successful. Can you go and tell me maybe how you've been so successful, and how do you stay motivated to help other people out?
Just putting work into people. We've never done any advertisement stuff. It's always been word of mouth. And so I think we've been successful because we really take on hard cases. Sometimes we get on cases where people are at their last resort, and we try just things that are different too. I feel like in the fitness industry, there's a lot of confusion, and I think it's pretty easy to navigate through that stuff. And I think the biggest thing with the fitness industry is everything out there is cookie cutter, and it has to be individualized for that person. So motivation is pretty easy. With what we do, I love seeing change in people, changing their lives, whether it's through something healthy, whether it's an injury or post-surgery. It's always fun to watch them overcome that and then go to like the next chapter in their life.
Can you tell me, what are your personal goals for 2023?
Stay under a certain percent body fat, to push myself mentally with hard things, challenges, to keep my business growing and always getting new stuff for the gym, and following the research, figuring out what's going to be the best for clients, people, and putting those protocols in.
With all the wisdom you've accrued in 30 plus years, if you had to go back to the very beginning, is there anything, or what would you change?
I think the only thing that I would change is who my influences were and who I followed. I think sometimes I went down some tracks and realized that those people were just full of fluff. So I mean, I'm appreciative for where I am today. So with that said, I don't know if I would change anything, but if I could go back and change some stuff, probably who my mentors were, some of the influences that I followed.
I just got to give all the credit to this guy. He's very humble, knows so much, and he's not gonna let you slack. He's gonna push you, and that's really important in a trainer and someone that actually cares about you getting your goals. So thank you, Steve, very much.
Of course.
It's impossible to get this guy, so this is really a blessing in disguise, and I'm very thankful. So until next time, peace out. So the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, this is something that's really interesting. It's something you can go read about. I'm not gonna get too far into it, but really this concept and how I laid everything out in these phases is kind of based on how this model works, because at the bottom is when we fill our basic needs, and there's a lot of them. Those have to be filled. In order to keep moving up and bettering ourselves, we have to fill those lower levels first. So if you've been following along each episode, you may have noticed that we have been building. We started there with calories, and then we came to calories out, and we talked about a buddy system, and we've been working our way up. And when we get to the top, that's what we could kind of call phase 3. It's kind of when we not mastered it, but everything else is filled and we're in perfect harmony and balance. How will you know you're there? I don't know. I mean, I would like to think I've been there at points, but because I'm always trying to better myself, maybe that's kind of the point of being at the top. It's constantly trying to improve. I don't know, but for me, that's the way I see it. So it doesn't really matter if this model fits perfectly. It's just a way to represent kind of what we're trying to do and what the system's approaching and attacking is to help you make change for the better. So one thing I tried when I first started this system was to help other people by making meals and teaching how to cook. And while I think it had some merit to it, it wasn't the best bet. Let's just say this, it didn't address a number of, say, things that are different in our lifestyles and personalities and environments. And so that's something that the whole point of this came out, was to try and help others based on just selling an idea or a concept of how to change, not so much to do it my way, but just open up to, hey, you know, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. Because in the health and fitness world, it's really, you got this, this program or this program or this program or this. And so that's not really good. What if you had this, just, you can do any kind of blend you want. You just have to figure out what works for you. And that's what's more important, rather than, okay, eating out of meal trays like I do. Some people don't want to do that. They want to have fresher meals. Well, then now you have to prioritize cooking. And I address all that, how to do it in bulk, how to make it, you know, you can go look back, and that was in the beginning. If you don't stick around for what I have to say, I'd just like to say thank you again, and hope you check in for the next series, and just keep pushing forward in your journey. And that's really what's most important in this, is what's your story? How are you helping others? How are you helping yourself? Are you growing each year? Are you getting better? So I think our story is something that's very powerful, and something that you just don't know. Somebody could say one thing to you today, and then, you know, it doesn't really mean much till years down the road, and then it kind of makes sense or helps you in a good way, in a positive way, in a way that, you know, is going to better your life. So that's kind of the whole point of our stories and our journeys, is to make influence, good influence to others, and, you know, kind of be a light in a dark world, and be, you know, that say shining star out there that sometimes people just, you know, when people are having down times, it's good to hear from those who are on say a better path, and not gloating about it, but, you know, just in a, say, a humble way and a helpful way. So that's going to do it for this series, and then hope you stick around and listen to what I have, you know, for my journey. If you don't, no worries. We'll see you in the next series, hopefully, and take care. Yeah, it's been a long one, so got to get done with this. Got to start on this next journey for myself and see where we get to. So take care. Peace out. All right, so here we are. This is the very beginning. So this is where kind of it all started. This is where I started making change. It was that time I went from my low and started working my way up. We all have times where we get down in life and stressed out, and I was at that bottom point. I've been there, and I know what it feels like. And I can just say that when you make that change, when you find that person, you find that place that is your new start, it's out there. You just have to go find it, and you have to be passionate about this and have help and support around you to get you to those places. So I'm kind of hoping that's what this story does for you, and just starts you in a new positive place, and a place for change, and just seeing that anybody can change. You know, I'm nobody special, but I made change, and it's something that has made all the difference in my life. So everyone's got a story to tell, and that's kind of where I'm at right now, is thinking about, well, how did this all start? I would say my journey in health and fitness began with just a strange night where I didn't have my shirt on, and I was looking at myself in the mirror. I was unhappy, a little depressed, stressed out, you know, just raising young kids, you know, trying to be a good parent and doing what I could. And those of you who have had, say, infants and toddlers kind of know the stress that kind of comes with, you know, bringing kids up. And it was a very stressful time in the end of 2013. So this kind of takes me back to the beginning of the winter of the end of the year. I think it was late 2013, and there was just a moment, you know, I'd never known about nutrition and fitness and health. It was a world that was foreign to me, and things that I just didn't think about. It wasn't when I ate food at that time, I just didn't think about calories. I didn't know how to lift. I really didn't know anything about running. And at the time, you know, I'm like, this point, 31 years old, so something hit. It's a spark. It's something I can't explain. It was something in my mind that said, it's time to change. It's time to say, get rid of this physique and get in shape, get muscular, get big. You've seen those physiques. What's stopping you from doing it? What I will say is the first year of my journey was probably, you know, the first year is the hardest, but shockingly enough, once I kind of hit that spark and I got the motivation and the drive to get in that, say, conditioning, that physique, changed my nutrition right away. I went to clean eating. I was influenced and inspired through a number of people who had that look that I wanted to have. And I had this new kind of lifestyle. But one thing I didn't realize in the process of all that dedication to, say, fitness and my health and my food, I kind of ignored others around me. I put the world around myself it became very selfish, and I didn't know it at the time. I was just trying to do what I thought was best to be, healthier, and especially most importantly for my kids. I wanted to be that role model, someone they could look up to and say, hey, my dad, my papa, he's in great shape, and he looks big and intimidating and scary. So those were some of my, say, initial motivations to get started. One of the most important, say, influences that I didn't even see at the time, and it was right in front of me, was my brother. I want to say he had been doing it 15 plus years at that point. I asked him some of the questions about how to get in shape, how to use the gym, and in the very beginning, he supported me a lot. He came to the gym with me, gave me a lot of tips, a lot of, say, techniques, a lot of things to focus on and things that would be important. And unfortunately, I was so stuck in what was happening online that it wasn't in line with what I knew. So I kind of pushed it to the back of my mind. I didn't think about some of the importances when it came to cardio, when it came to not training too heavy or too hard, taking it easy, listening to your body, mind-muscle connection. He was trying to teach me a lot of those things, but unfortunately as a beginner and a rookie and a newbie, it just didn't click. And so I was just going with what was popular. That took me down a road that was very difficult because I got a number of injuries trying to say, lift too heavy, push too hard, horrible form. What had happened in 2019 is I started off with these high goals, and I got to lift heavy to get big. And sure enough, in that first month, I got hurt. It was a back injury from a heavy deadlift, I think, and I'd been off from some time. So trying to jump back into it, I thought I was gonna, be able to get right back where I left off, and that didn't happen. And that back injury mentally set off another spark. It said, this isn't for you. Why are you doing this anymore? Every year's an injury. You're not hitting your goals. You're not going to be that person that you think you can be. You just weren't made for it. So I figured, I said, you know what? That's something I've never thought about, that, I put all this time and effort into it. I'm just going to give up. And at the end of January, I quit. I said, no more food, no more nutrition, no more fitness, no more gym, no more working out. I still like sports like volleyball and things when, if I felt good enough to play it and wasn't hurt. But that was it, I was done. And I went back to the old habits, said, I'm gonna drink, I'm gonna eat whatever, I'm gonna eat fast foods. I don't care about calories anymore. I don't feel like tracking. I don't wanna track. I'm just gonna go back to being the old me. It was way easier, at least I wasn't disappointed. By June of 2019, that was my rock bottom. That was the lowest I've ever been in terms of mental, spiritual, and physical. Had all three of them down. So there's a lot of weight gain. And I got that way because I pretty much played video games every day, drank alcohol, had a lot of high processed foods, let's say what people call junk foods, but just high calorie dense foods, low in nutrition, a lot of fast food, highly palatable things. Can't even say how many calories a day, 5,000 plus easy for about 6 months, and 210 pounds, there I am, and just thinking not really what happened, but maybe this is just my life. This is where I'm supposed to be. That was the thing in the past, that trying to, hit that certain goal, that certain physique. The things I had always wanted, in terms of when that spark happened, there was just something about it that it felt right, as a godsend, something I didn't expect. Someone that's, let's say, a close relative suggested a place, said, hey, I found this gym out and it's really good. They're helping me, lose weight, get stronger. You should check it out. God intervenes in our life, and we don't always know why or how or why things are to be. It was just a random conversation, at one of my kids' practices, and that was pretty much today what it turned out to be was the actual place I went. It was my turning point. This is when everything changed. What I did is, after she said that, I consulted with the owner, Stephen Horwath, and asked him about a free consultation to, think about training and think about getting in shape again. And I went there, and he was nice. Maybe a little regimented, he's like, okay, what are your goals? What do you want to do? We got to do an assessment. Very straightforward. Told him I had, learned about fitness. I had this know-it-all, like, oh, I've done that, I've done this, and I want to make change. And he told me a lot about nutrition, and he was very accommodating, and we went through my assessment. It was horrible. I couldn't do push-ups, pull-ups. There was a lot that I couldn't do anymore. That was the day of change, and I got an in-body reading, and I actually started losing a little bit of weight before that first in-body. So when November came along, I had unfortunate news that my mom passed away, and it was quite the shock in some senses of how it all happened, but just to save the details there, that was the mental thing I needed. It was what sparked yet something bigger. It gave me a passion to keep moving forward and even further, and saying, you know what, I haven't been doing this right. There's things I'm missing and things that are still in my life that I haven't let go of to get to the next level. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's been a long journey and something that I've been very humbled with. That's pretty much kind of how this all started. It was a spark. There's a lot that happened in between that's too long of a story to tell now, so I'll be telling that throughout the next few series, filling in the gaps. Thank you first and foremost for following through this ENLS series. It's something that I've had a high passion to do for some time, and in order to, let's say, have the maximum impact, I felt like this would be a great thing to do, and it's something that, the Lord's led me to do and has helped me through every step of the way. For those of you looking for change and you're looking to build upon this, the whole point was to make this as ENLS you. So this is ENLS Coach, how I do, say, my nutrition and fitness. Now ENLS to you, it could be ENLS and then your name. And it's your system. It's however you want to make this concept. That's the whole point. Shape it however you want it. Take what you need from it, leave out what doesn't make sense, and move forward and go towards your goals. That's what I ultimately pray for, is that you get to your goals. You get a taste of what it's like. And just know that, I'm thinking of you along the way. So that's pretty much going to wrap this up, and I have a lot of work ahead of me, a lot of filming to do. This has been quite the journey, quite the tasking, and quite interesting, and it's really hard to do something like content, something else that I was not talented to do. It's far outside of my natural talents, I've called them. So thanks for following along, sticking with me, supporting me, and being there for me in many moments, whether it was challenges or a conversation at the gym or a conversation about fitness or whatever, or just an ear to hear me out when I have something to say or advice in this world. So until then, until the next series, I appreciate all of you cruising along for the ride, and I will see you in 2023. Take care. Peace.